There's no problem. I'm not afraid of criticism.
Okay.
I'm not being honest to myself anymore. My gut had stopped reacting to me the amount it should.
Namaskar, you are watching DNA and I am Abhimanyu, and I have with me a powerhouse performer, Sara Ali Khan, the star of the new film Watan, Mere Watan. Sara, welcome to DNA. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I know a million people probably already told you this, but I'll tell you this, that you're going against type. And itni jaldi type banna bhi nahi chahiye. Aapka hai nahi, not that I'm saying, but a lot of people pointed out on the trailer and social media that she's used to playing certain kinds of characters which are effervescent. And here she is playing a powerhouse performer, you know, a freedom fighter of another era altogether. So first of all, congratulations for that big leap in an actor's life. But what is it like? Is it a feeling of I'm so lucky to get this,
100%.
or is there any self-doubt also? Will I be able to do this? What is it like?
They can both exist together. I don't like the word doubt anymore.
Okay.
But there should be nerves. You know, it's not will I, it's how can I.
Right.
And I think that changes a lot. But constant gratitude, for sure.
There are a lot of dissimilarities between you and Usha Mehta, who you are playing in this movie, because she was a woman from different times, of different era, and different motivations, of course. It was colonial India for that matter. But there must have been some similarities when you read the script, when you got to know her. What is the one thing that you sort of caught on, ki isse sort of I can relate to and I can probably catch on to her soul?
The knowledge of injustice and the promise to yourself that you're not going to take it. Like, I think that if put to test, I have that in me, you know, and of course the stakes are different.
Right,
I'm not from 1942, I'm not a political activist, but I feel like when you see something wrong happening personally, professionally, domestically, environmentally, to be able to stand up to that requires a certain personality that I think I have.
The one thing that I could sort of find a parallel in very different stakes, of course, that here are two women who have grown up in slightly different privileged surroundings, who had to go out of their comfort zones. You know, Usha Mehta had to leave her house because her father was completely against it, what she was trying to do, and she had to give all the comforts of life she had. You had to take a leap and come in a field which, of course, your parents have done before, but it's a field where how well you are doing or how well you have done something depends on the perception of millions of other people. So what was that moment in your life where you felt you had to step out of your comfort zone completely for the first time, which was nerve-wracking for you?
Honestly, what I find most commendable about Usha Mehta is the fact that her socio-economic and just general ideologies are distinct from her father's.
Right.
I think what I'm very lucky and privileged to have is, no matter where I go, every movie set is different. You know, playing Bambi and Usha in a film like Murder Mubarak and Watan releasing in the same month,
Right.
that's pretty out of my comfort zone. But the truth is, no matter what I call my comfort zone, the truth is I go home to a very important anchor.
Right.
And she is my comfort zone, so
Right.
I'm not really ever away from it,
Right.
is the real truth.
Yeah.
Unlike Usha, who actually gives up being with that sense of self. She gives up her friends, she gives up romance.
Right.
She gives up the comforts of her father's home.
That sense of security that you
Every
have.
sense of
Yeah.
security. What enables me to get out of my comfort zone is the inherent security that I have at home right after this interview.
Right, of course.
She doesn't have that.
Right.
She still did it.
That's commendable. Very different times. I was wondering that communication is the key in this film, that the lack of communication is what cost the Indians the 1857 First War of
Yes.
Independence, right? And Usha points this out in the film. In 1942, the Quit India movement, she starts that radio revolution with her colleagues, and that is the essence of it. Today, we are in a time where it is over communication. We are saturated so much that we go on digital detox. Do you find that sometimes we take communication for granted in our times, that which was sort of non-existent in those eras?
Of course.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that? Because I know you are the kind of person who would not be over dependent on your phone or
I'm not.
anything. You
I'm not. It's important to strike the balance, I think. So yeah.
Sara can stay away from her social media for how long?
I'll be promoting 2 films back to back in the month of March, because then 0 minutes. But otherwise, like in fact, this funny thing about both these films that are just intertwined somehow is I finished shooting Watan, Mere Watan and Murder Mubarak kind of back to back, and my last day of work was the last day of April, because on the 1st of May I went to Kashmir and then Kedarnath for 10 days and there was no network. So
I
did that.
You did that, yeah. And you no frantic calls from home as well.
No, mom was with me.
That is why you do that, right? Because I was wondering because that.
Mom was with me.
Another thing that this era of communication has brought is that your parents would tell you probably is that back then there were like 5 critics probably in the industry, and the audience feedback was delayed. You would know the audience is liking the film or not once the numbers started showing, or once if the actors visited the theaters and they probably got that. Today it's instantaneous. A, B, there are 1,000 critics, you don't know who is what and all that, and social media has exponentially increased it. How do you maintain your sanity? Because I know actors have a habit of reading also, because you want to know what people are saying, but sometimes people don't mince words as well. How do you make sure that you are only taking the positive, constructive feedback and not letting you get to it whenever a movie releases? Because there'll be good and bad every single time, right?
You look at it like that, na? You read the good, you read the bad, you celebrate the good, you keep in your memory the bad. There's no problem. I'm not afraid of criticism.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of noise. I just always pray and hope to have the awareness of knowing that this is noise and I need to filter it. उतना है तो फिर मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Has it been over the years or were you शुरू से ऐसे थे जब like since
केदारनाथ के वक्त ऐसी थी, फिर बीच में बदल गई, अब वापस वैसे हो गई.
वापस वैसे हो गई. So what took you there? What was the one thing that sort of changed you? कि हाँ, I need to get back to that thing.
There was a voice in me that felt like I'm not being honest to myself anymore. My gut had stopped reacting to me the amount it should.
Right, and that should not happen.
That should not happen.
Before I conclude this, I want you to tell the audience because Watan, Mere Watan, by the time this interview comes out, would already be streaming, on the one thing that they will find in this movie that they haven't found in your previous films.
I'd like to say Thera.
It's a beautiful word. I love it. And
I realize, because I've been giving interviews today, and in a conversation I actually realized that I think Therav is something that as an actor you feel can come, and the interviewer actually told me. I stole this word from her because she was like, I found that there was Therav in your performance, and I was like, did you really? Because I think that's only possible when you trust yourself. If you trust that, हाँ ठीक है, मैं ये कर रही हूँ, फिर you don't have to be loud,
right.
Vocally, physically, anyway.
आपने वो anxiety नहीं होगी तो
just that's enough.
Yeah.
That belief कि जो मैं कर रही हूँ काफ़ी है, उसी से शायद ठहराव आ सकता है.